There's something thrilling about going on a wildlife safari. The raw beauty of nature, the chance to see majestic animals up close, and the sheer unpredictability of the wild. But sometimes, that unpredictability turns into a nightmare. Though safaris are meant to be awe-inspiring experiences, some have ended in absolute horror, with people meeting gruesome and tragic fates. Whether through an animal attack, a freak accident, or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time, these deaths serve as chilling reminders that nature doesn't play by human rules. Here are 5 of the most disturbing safari tragedies that will make you think twice before venturing into the wild. An experienced safari guide, an enormous beast in a violent rage, and a tragic ending no one saw coming. In December 2018, South Africa's Madikwe Game Reserve became the setting for a horrifying tragedy when a male elephant, overcome by uncontrollable aggression, broke through a fence and stormed into a tourist area at Leopard Rock Lodge. Mark Lautenbach, a highly respected guide, wildlife photographer, and one of the most skilled rangers in the country, stepped forward to calm the situation. But in the merciless world of the wild, even the most experienced hands can be powerless against nature's fury. The elephant, a 6-ton male in Must, a period of extreme aggression caused by heightened testosterone levels, was in no mood for confrontation. Witnesses say the massive creature locked eyes on Mark and within seconds charged with deadly intent. The ground shook beneath its weight as it thundered forward. Before anyone could react, Mark was struck and repeatedly trampled, suffering catastrophic injuries. Must turns male elephants into some of the most dangerous animals on Earth, flooding their bodies with up to 6 times their normal testosterone levels and turning them into unstoppable forces of rage. Even females in heat aren't safe during this time, let alone a human trying to intervene. A local expert, speaking anonymously, described the scene with chilling clarity. Mark was one of the best, a man who understood the wild like few others. But this was something no one could stop. That elephant had already made its decision. Despite Mark's experience and knowledge, nothing could be done once the attack began. The beast left a path of destruction before rangers made the painful decision to put it down, fearing it would strike again. For the safari community, Mark's death was more than a tragedy. It was a sobering reminder that no matter how much we learn about nature, it remains unpredictable and unforgiving. A dream birthday, a peaceful river safari, and then pure terror rising from the depths. It was December 1st, 2018, the 37th birthday of Kristen Yaldor. She and her husband Ryan had set out for what was supposed to be a relaxing canoe trip down Zimbabwe's Zambezi River, a place known for its stunning beauty and rich wildlife. The guided tour promised calm waters and breathtaking photo opportunities near Victoria Falls, but nature had other plans. They had barely begun when one of the guides shouted, a warning, lost in the river's stillness. Something massive surged from below. In an instant, their canoe jolted violently, flipping as if struck by an underwater explosion. Before Kristen could react, she was already in the water, gasping, disoriented. She surfaced just in time to see Ryan swimming frantically towards shore. She was almost there too, just 5 strokes from safety. Then it happened. A wrecking ball force clamped onto her right leg and yanked her down. The pain hadn't even hit yet. Only shock, adrenaline, pure survival instinct. The water churned as the invisible monster shook her side to side, its giant jaws crushing like a hydraulic press. She had gone diving with sharks before. She knew not to panic. Hold your breath. Stay calm. She reached for the creature's jaw, her fingers brushing its rough, ancient skin. For a moment, it loosened its grip. Was she free? Had she scared it off? Then came the agony. Kristen crawled to the riverbank, her shattered leg sending searing pain through her body. The extent of her injuries was unclear, but the crimson clouds spreading in the water told her everything she needed to know. A guide tied a tourniquet around her leg. Ryan, hands shaking, tried to call for help. Across the river, tourists, safe inside their vehicles, had stopped watching animals. Now they were watching her. Kristen borrowed Ryan's phone. She called home. It was 2 a.m. in Florida, but her mother answered. "Do you want me to sing happy birthday?" her mom asked. "No, Mom," Kristen whispered. A hippo attacked me. For those who've never seen a hippo up close, its bite is the stuff of nightmares. Its jaws open to a horrifying 150-degree angle, revealing 36 dagger-like teeth, including massive tusks designed to crush bone and tear flesh. The force of its bite can split a canoe in half, and nearly did. Kristen survived, but the scars, both physical and psychological, would last forever. The Zambezi had given her a birthday she'd never forget, and a reason to never again trust calm waters. A split-second decision, a predator lurking, a tragedy that unfolded before horrified witnesses. On a scorching July day in 2016, a family trip to Beijing's Badaling Wildlife Park took a terrifying and deadly turn. The park, known for its drive-through safari experience, allows visitors to observe Siberian tigers up close from the supposed safety of their cars. But a single mistake, a moment of lowered guard, turned a routine drive into a nightmare caught on camera. It began with an argument. Inside the car, tensions flared between a woman, later identified as Zhao, and her companions. Frustrated, she did the unthinkable. She opened the car door and stepped out, unaware of the danger lurking beyond the tree line. She barely had time to react. From the shadows, a massive Siberian tiger burst into motion. With lightning speed, the 400-pound predator lunged, sinking its powerful jaws into Zhao's body and dragging her away before anyone could intervene. Screams filled the air. Panic erupted inside the car. A man and another woman, later identified as Zhao's mother, jumped out, desperate to save her. But in the wild, acts of heroism come at a price. As Zhao's mother ran toward her daughter, a second tiger attacked, faster, stronger, and more brutal. The beast slammed her to the ground with crushing force, mauling her to death before horrified onlookers. Unlike Zhao, she did not survive. Security cameras caught everything. The footage, later leaked online, showed the horrifying attack in real time. The tiger's ferocity stunned even wildlife experts. Viewers watched in disbelief as the animals dragged their victims into the brush, vanishing from sight. By the time park officials and emergency responders arrived, it was too late. Zhao, though critically injured, had miraculously survived. Her mother, however, was torn apart, her selfless attempt to save her daughter costing her everything. Afterward, questions swirled. The park's rules were clear. Visitors were to stay inside their vehicles at all times, windows up, doors locked. Yet Zhao claimed she never knew what she signed before entering. She later said she thought the form was just a check-in sheet, not a liability waiver warning of danger. To make matters worse, Zhao accused the park of failing to act, alleging that an officer stationed nearby didn't come to her aid, a claim that sparked outrage across China. The tragedy served as a grim reminder of the wild's unforgiving nature. Siberian tigers are among the planet's deadliest predators, capable of taking down prey many times their size. Once they've locked onto a target, there's no escape. One small mistake, one fatal misstep, and a mother gave her life trying to save her daughter from the jaws of death. The tiger enclosure at Badaling Wildlife Park remains open, but those who enter now do so with chilling awareness. One wrong move can mean the difference between life and death. African wilderness is breathtaking, but merciless. One wrong step, one misjudgment, and the wild reminds you who's really in charge. In 2018, a 22-year-old woman learned this in the most horrifying way imaginable. What was supposed to be a casual visit to a South African reserve turned into a nightmare, a chilling moment when human curiosity met nature's raw, lethal power. She wasn't supposed to be there. The woman, whose identity was never publicly released, had accompanied a friend to the 1300 Hectare Dino King Big 5 Game Reserve just outside Pretoria. Her friend was there to interview the camp manager for a project. The visit was informal. She was simply tagging along. The reserve was home to Kevin Richardson, the famed lion whisperer, a world-renowned conservationist who had built an extraordinary bond with some of the planet's most powerful predators. For the young woman, it was a rare chance to see lions up close, majestic, awe-inspiring creatures in their natural setting. But she didn't know something deadly was already in motion. That fateful day, Kevin Richardson had taken 3 of his lions out for their routine walk. It was part of their exercise and enrichment, a controlled interaction between man and beast that Richardson had done countless times. Everything seemed normal. The lions, powerful yet familiar, roamed the reserve as Richardson and a colleague watched closely. Then, everything changed in an instant. A lioness, sleek and muscular, locked her gaze on a target, an impala, a graceful antelope that had wandered into the clearing. Instinct took over. Without hesitation, she exploded into a full sprint, muscles rippling as she chased her terrified prey, but somewhere during the pursuit, the hunt veered off course. The impala zigzagged across the terrain. The lioness, consumed by the frenzy of the chase, followed, covering over 2 kilometers in mere moments. Then she found something unexpected. The young woman. She had been standing outside the fenced area of the camp, completely unaware of the danger closing in. She and her friend had been taking photos, capturing the raw beauty of the African landscape. She never saw it coming. But the lioness did. There was no time to react. Before the woman could turn, before she could even scream, the lioness struck. With bone-crushing force, the predator lunged, knocking her to the ground. The world went silent for a split second, then filled with screams of terror. Her friend stood frozen, watching in horror as the attack unfolded. The lioness, guided by primal instinct, did what apex predators do. Her teeth sank into flesh, her claws tore through skin. It was over in seconds. The woman's body lay motionless, the golden-coated predator above her, panting heavily, her powerful jaws stained red. The once peaceful African landscape was now eerily silent. Paramedics rushed to the scene, sirens piercing the still air of the reserve. Desperate efforts were made to save her, but the wounds were catastrophic. Paramedic spokesman Nick Dahlman described the scene as horrific. The injuries were severe, he said. It was a fatal attack. Her friend, though physically unharmed, was in complete shock. The nightmare had unfolded right before her eyes, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Kevin Richardson was devastated. This wasn't a case of a wild rampage. The lioness hadn't attacked out of malice. The woman had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Richardson took to social media to express his grief. "I am heartbroken, and my thoughts are with the family of this young woman," he wrote. He explained that his team had sent out notices that they would be walking with the lions that day, as they always did. The lioness had been chasing an impala. This should never have happened. Dino King's management was quick to clarify. The lion involved in the fatality wasn't one of the free-roaming lions of the reserve, but that didn't matter. A woman was dead. The tragedy cast a dark shadow over Richardson's sanctuary, his reputation as the lion whisperer. A man who devoted his life to building trust with these apex predators was suddenly under scrutiny. Just weeks before the attack, supermodel Cara Delevingne had posed with one of Richardson's lions for a glamorous photo shoot at the sanctuary. In an emotional post, she called the experience humbling, marveling at the chance to see such majestic creatures up close. Now, that same world of intimate encounters and breathtaking beauty had revealed its darker, more brutal side. Visitors still come to Richardson's camp. They still take safaris, still volunteer for the thrill of being near some of the world's most powerful predators. But the woman's death stands as a chilling warning. In the wild, even the most experienced caretakers know that lions don't reason, don't hesitate, and don't forgive mistakes. One moment of distraction, one wrong step, one wrong place at the wrong time, and in the blink of an eye, you become the prey. African wilderness is as awe-inspiring as it is merciless, a place where nature reigns supreme and danger lurks just beneath the surface. Sometimes, literally. For Dr. Richard K. Root, a man who had dedicated his life to saving others, the wild had something far more sinister in store. A world-renowned specialist in infectious diseases, mentor, and humanitarian, Dr. Root had traveled the globe fighting the deadliest bacterial infections and training the next generation of medical professionals. But on one seemingly peaceful day in 2006, his extraordinary journey came to a horrific, violent end, dragged into the depths of the Limpopo River by a giant, prehistoric predator. At 68, Dr. Root was far from retirement. His passion for medicine and education burned as brightly as ever. When the University of Pennsylvania's Department of Infectious Diseases offered him the chance to help train doctors in Botswana, he didn't hesitate. The project was vital. Botswana was in the grip of a devastating HIV/AIDS epidemic, and Dr. Root was there to help equip local medical teams with the knowledge and skills to fight it. His assignment was set for 2 months, and in that short time, he was determined to make a difference. But amid the hard work, there was also time to admire the region's stunning beauty, a land full of wildlife, ancient landscapes, and vast rivers where predators still ruled. And so, on March 19, 2006, Dr. Root and his wife Rita set out on what was supposed to be a simple guided canoe safari through Botswana's Thuli Nature Reserve, a decision that would become the last of his life. The canoes glided peacefully along the Limpopo River, the soft murmur of the water blending with distant bird calls and the rustling of leaves along the high riverbanks. The sun shone overhead, its reflection shimmering on the surface, the illusion of serenity. But beneath the murky depths, something was watching, waiting. Dr. Root was in the lead canoe, accompanied by an experienced guide, a man who had surely seen his share of danger in Africa. His wife followed behind in another canoe, snapping photos of their adventure. The images she took just minutes before the attack showed Dr. Root relaxed, completely unaware he was about to become prey. Then, the river exploded. A monstrous crocodile, between 13 and 15 feet long, erupted from the depths. In a single, calculated strike, the reptile lunged at the canoe, sinking its dagger-like teeth into Dr. Root's body. The canoe rocked violently, but didn't capsize. It didn't need to. The beast had already won. Within seconds, Dr. Root was torn from his seat and dragged into the water. A scream echoed across the river. His wife, just a few yards behind, could only watch in horror as her husband vanished beneath the surface. Then, silence. Panic gripped the group. The guide and others searched frantically, scanning the water for any sign of movement, but the river had already swallowed him. In that moment, Dr. Root, a man who had spent decades fighting deadly diseases, saving lives, and training doctors, had become another victim of Africa's unforgiving wilderness. News spread quickly. Authorities and local trackers launched a massive search, combing the Limpopo's banks for any sign of his body. Days passed. Nothing. For 4 long days, hope faded. His wife clung to the desperate possibility that somehow he had survived. Then, on the 4th day, the river gave up its secret. Dr. Root's lifeless body was found near the site of the initial attack. His remains bore the unmistakable marks of a crocodile's bite. The man who had spent his life fighting death had lost his final battle to a silent, ancient killer. Dr. Richard K. Root was no ordinary man, a pioneer in infectious disease research, a respected educator, and a mentor to countless doctors worldwide. His work in sepsis and bacterial infections helped shape modern medical understanding of some of humanity's deadliest illnesses. But even the brightest minds cannot stand against nature's raw, unpredictable brutality. His death shook the medical community. Tributes poured in from colleagues, students, and institutions across the globe. He had spent a lifetime saving lives, and in the end, no one could save him. His tragic death stands as a haunting reminder of the wild's relentless power. In nature, even the most respected, intelligent, and experienced among us are still just another link in the food chain. The Nile crocodile is a master ambusher, a prehistoric killer unchanged for millions of years. With crushing jaws capable of exerting over 5,000 pounds per square inch of pressure, and its infamous death roll, a brutal, bone-snapping method of killing, it's one of the most feared predators on Earth. Each year, hundreds fall victim to these stealth hunters, especially in the rivers of Botswana, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. But it's rare for someone as prominent as Dr. Root to be among them. And perhaps that's what makes his death so chilling. It wasn't disease, nor accident, nor age that claimed him. It was something far more primal. A silent predator in the water, a moment of peace shattered in an instant. A man of science, consumed by the wild. In the end, no knowledge, no cure, no experience could save him. The abyss doesn't scream, it whispers, and you've chosen to listen. This journey was just a glimpse of what's still to be revealed. And if you're here at the end, it's because something inside you also seeks answers. Thank you for joining, for supporting this content, and for being part of a community that grows in the shadow of mystery. I invite you to subscribe, leave a comment, and turn on the bell so you won't miss anything, because what's coming goes even deeper. Until the next episode, when darkness speaks again, and you choose once more to listen to the voice of the abyss.